one. We're gonna lock it up.
Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. Yeah, I hate to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. Yeah, I know hey, yeah. No friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. A fact. Let us start if you don't want to keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back.
We're gonna be great, man. I can't wait.
Are live. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with another episode of Fight or Flight Podcast. I'm your host, James, and joining me is my mustache-fellowed friend, Mr. Eric Fajardo. What's going on, dude?
Yes, sir, man. How you doing? Good to be back.
Pissed off. That's how I'm doing. Pissed. Yeah. Fuck off. Like, typical Jets fan. Like, this is the most Jets season that could ever happen. Ever. Like, ever. And, you know, we talked about in our last episode how, you know, we beat Buffalo and we could beat New England. And if we beat New England, we're 2-1 in the division. And we're 2-0 in the division, 2-1 on the season. We're looking pretty good. But now, after the way that we played, not being able to score more than 15 points, 3 and out every single drive. Literally, it was like watching paint dry. I've given up on Zach Wilson completely. The game wasn't all on him 100%. There was definitely offensive line struggles. There was definitely our defense did not make any impact plays, and I definitely want to get into that. But Zach Wilson I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I cannot watch this guy play football. He does not belong on an NFL field right now. He's not ready. Like, he has the skill set, the talent, all of the physical tools to be a good quarterback, but he is not. He cannot read a field. No. He cannot see open receivers. Like, the safety that he took, dude, was so infuriating. Like, I am not an offensive coordinator. I am not even close to a professional football player, but I'm watching this play out from the sky cam. And Zach had Breece Hall and Tyler Conklin both wide the fuck open on a simple check down. And all he had to do is lob it. I could have hit the pass, dude. I'm 5'10". I could have hit that pass. They were 100%. That wide open. And
he looks awful. He looks awful. He looks like Sam Darnold seeing ghosts, but for an hour every single Sunday.
It was worse than Sam Darnold. Like, Sam Darnold was bad, but I truly believe Sam Darnold was so bad, not only because he had 0 weapons on that team, none, but not only that, his head coach was Adam Gase, this quarterback guru, who is probably the worst head coach of all time. Then he went over to Matt Rule, who's the second worst head coach of all time. Like, the kid had no opportunity. So I don't really necessarily think Sam Darnold's a bad quarterback by any stretch of the means. I don't think he's a good quarterback, but I'd much rather have him than Zach Wilson. I'll tell you that.
100%. And like, really, like, you know, this is bad when people feel bad for you and they enjoy feeling bad for you. Like, if you remember the offseason, no, I'm talking about other people, not Jets
outside
fans.
Of the Jets organization. Like, Jets fans are miserable. Like, we're 2 steps away from Kurt Cobaining ourselves. We're literally like right there at this point. It's the most. I don't wish being a Jets fan on my worst enemy. It's the worst thing ever. Like. We're literally in a perpetual state of losers. It's awful. Like, it's not fun to watch. And
it's always the weirdest shit. It's always the weirdest shit. That's the thing.
Every time. No, it's not always the weirdest shit, because we kick ourselves in our own dick over and over again. We can't draft for shit. Our head coaches are terrible. There's a revolving door at head coach. We haven't had a good quarterback or a good wide receiver in literal decades. Like, there's so many things that we could point blame at the Jets organization as a whole. But on top of those things, there's all of the weird shit that continues to happen to the Jets.
And it only happens when things look good, right?
Only.
Vinny, then Chad comes in, doesn't have an arm anymore, loses his shoulder. Brett Favre comes in, loses his arm. Then we get Sanchez back-to-back years. You think he's going to develop in the third, falls off a cliff. Gino didn't become anything, gets his jaw broken. It's just like whenever it looks like there's a little bit of a glimmer of hope, it just comes absolutely crashing down in the weirdest ways. Like Sam Darnold with the mono. Like
Part of me, dude. No, you're 100% right. Sam Darnold with the mono. I totally forgot about that. Part of me truly believes that Joe Namath sold his soul for that Super Bowl III win and literally was like, all right, the Jets will be terrible forever. I don't care. But if we can get this dub here, like, I'll trade that. Like, part of me thinks that that's like in the realm of possibility, all of the crazy things that have happened to the Jets throughout history and then all of the terrible draft picks that we have had. Like, we cannot get anything going. Anytime there is a glimmer of hope, like a shred of hope. And the only time that has ever really happened where we were like, all right, we have super, like, even when Brett Favre was here, it was like, all right, we could be good. We can compete. We could definitely make the playoffs. But you know, Super Bowl, there's a lot of really good teams. We still got the Patriots in our division. There's still a lot of really good teams. You know, even in 09 and 010, in 2010, when we went back-to-back AFC championships, we had Mark Sanchez, a rookie quarterback. We're like, all right, we got a great defense. Maybe we can, you know, upset some teams, which we did. You know, but it was never like, all right, we got a legitimate shot at the Super Bowl. It was like always hoping that we could, you know, get across into the playoffs with a wild card and, you know, win a couple upsets away. Like, that was what we were always hoping for. This year it was like, all right, we can win the division. We can go to the playoffs. We can make a run because even if Aaron Rodgers isn't MVP out Aaron Rodgers, we have an elite defense. We have a running game. Like, there's so many things that we have to lean on. And we're back in the literal same exact situation that we had right now. I'd rather call Boomer fucking Esiason from the WFAN to stand in there right now and Zach Wilson.
He could probably do it too. That's the thing.
Better than Zach.
Yeah.
Better than, like, he probably can't do it at a good level, but better than Zach.
He's gonna at least, you know, make checks before the play starts. You know what I mean? He's
not
going to take.
We're not
he's not taking that safety.
We're not going 3 and out. We're not going 3 and out.
No.
Eric. It's mind-boggling to me. It is like, I watch a lot of football. I watch every local game that's on. I have the red zone on. Like, I got multiple screens going. I've been watching football forever. I haven't missed Jets games since I was a little kid, and I didn't know what football was. I watch a lot of football. I've been playing fantasy forever. Why is it that other teams have subpar quarterback play? Not good quarterback play, consistently not good quarterback play, and they have good weapons, like, for example, Olave in the Saints or Sam Howell in the Redskins. He's able to move the football and get John Dodson the football. Dobbs is able to get Marquise Brown the football against the Cowboys, who destroyed us. You really think that Marquise Brown is better than Garrett Wilson?
No, not at
There's
all.
no way. There's no fucking way. Like, Marquise Brown, don't get me wrong, is a great wideout, but he's like a B-tier wide receiver in the NFL. And if he's got a good quarterback and things like that, he's gonna put up some numbers, but he's not like a game-changing wide receiver where you like, all right, Marquise Brown's in the game. Like, we gotta worry about him. Garrett Wilson is one of those types of guys. Like, he's one of those guys
if he needs to.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And he can play the ball. He can do all of that. But, you know, the reality is it's just Zach. It's just Zach, dude. You remember his rookie year in that shit offense? Josh Johnson, Joe Flacco, Mike White, his second year, whatever. All of them threw for over 300 yards in that offense with the same weapons, the same coaching, the same defense, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Zach couldn't do it.
Zach couldn't move the ball for shit.
He couldn't move. And then last year, any quarterback other than Zach is putting up real numbers. Like, I always, even as a kid, and especially with fantasy, you know, you look at the ticker on the bottom of all the scores and then the stats of your quarterbacks. I can't remember the last time I looked at the stats and it came down to the Jets game and our quarterback was something to be proud of. You know, Zach has, I think, 300
yards, 3 touchdowns, and maybe 1 interception. Like, no, never.
It's
Never.
literally never.
Ryan
and now,
Fitzpatrick maybe with B. Marsh and Decker, they put up some numbers.
Yeah.
But you're
all he was
absolutely
doing
right.
was chucking up prayers. And like, you know, that was a flash in the pan, and they still find a way to break our hearts at the very end of the year. I was sitting right next to you and your dad when we watched that.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Why is it that these other teams can get their playmakers the ball? Why is it they can move the ball down the field and get at least a couple first downs, like not go 3 and out every drive? Like, why is it that that's the case? Like, it's definitely a lot of it is on Zach. Zach does not hit his routes. Like that one play, it drove me fucking nuts. And it was Garrett Wilson doing a drag route across the middle, wide the fuck open, like nobody near him. He could have hit him in stride. There was one guy to beat, which Garrett Wilson can very easily do, and it's a first down plus some, 15 plus yard play. That's all he had to do. And he waits till Garrett Wilson gets all the way across the field instead of hitting him right in the middle of the field, right in front of him, all the way to the other side. So he's got to go through the entire field and scan, throw it. And at that point, it's 4 seconds into the play, and Garrett and Zach Wilson's, getting hit as he's throwing it. He tries to make a jump throw and look flashy, and he throws it over Garrett Wilson's head, who he has to stop and try to make a play instead of catching it in stride and being able to move the football with his legs, which he's very capable of doing. Probably one of the better guys in football at yards after the catch.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a little bit of it is our OC not like adapting in game.
100%.
However, he did get guys open. He schemed guys open. People were open. Zach's missing them. But there's a couple other factors, like not having a capable backup limits Zach's offense. You're not going to have him run those RPOs. You're not going to have him run QB draws. You're not going to have him run around at the risk of him getting hurt, which he's gotten hurt every year since he's been on the team. Mm-hmm. So it's like you kind of like tie one of your own hands behind your back by not having a legitimate, capable backup, which is going to limit Zach now in his performance and our versatility. So they stack the box. He gets jittery, and we watch the same shit we watched the last 2 years.
He cannot read the defense. He has no idea the hot routes. He has no idea what's going to happen on a defense. It's so easy to confuse him. He has no clue what the fuck he is doing up there. And the absolute pinnacle of he has no fucking clue about anything while he's back there is the last play on offense that we had. It's 4th and fucking 9. The game is on the line. We can drive down. Because you let up a safety, there's enough time for you to drive down the field and score a touchdown so we can win the game. If you didn't let up a safety, all we would have needed is a field goal. But that's another conversation. 4th and 9, and you finally decide to check the ball down on the last play of the game. Instead, and you don't even check it down to like Breece Hall or even Dalvin Cook, who looks absolutely atrocious. He looks terrible, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. But you check it down to Tyler Conklin, a tight end. And your response after the game was, I thought I could get the ball to Tyler and he could make a play and get the ball upfield. You're fucking kidding me, right? The tight end on your team is expected to break the tackle of a linebacker who's an elite tackler, like the tight end. The tight end is supposed to catch the ball and maybe get 2-3 yards after the catch and get hit and carry a couple cornerbacks with him maybe. But like he's not expected to break ankles. Like
he hit him late. He hit him late though too.
Bingo.
He hit him late. So it's like you were late in your progression. So the moment he caught the ball, he's already tagged.
But even if he hit him on time, you really expect Tyler Conklin to break a tackle? Like that's what's going through your thought process. Like Tyler Conklin is going to catch the ball and he's going to see this guy and juke him out of his shoes and get through or run him over. Like that's probably not going to happen. That's not Tyler Conklin's game. Like Tyler Conklin's got great hands. He's going to catch the ball when you throw it to him and hit him on the spot and not throw it 10 feet over his head. He's going to catch it 9 times out of 10. He's got great hands. But you don't do that. You hit him, throw him passes late. You hit him way 10 feet over his head. It's an absolute disaster. And it's 4th and 9. We need to get a first down here or the game is over. Like it's over. And you decide, like that's my biggest issue. Like if this was like the middle of the game and you check down to Tyler Conklin instead of throwing an interception, you know what? I'm not that pissed off at it. It's the end of the game. Like, you're a turnover prone guy. We're still in this game. Don't turn the ball over. Put it in Tyler Conklin's hands. Sure, I'd rather it be Brees or somebody who could actually break a tackle or make somebody miss. But you're not turning the ball over. But the last play of the fucking game, Eric, the last play of the game, he's got to throw the ball 9 yards. Like, and to be fair, there really shouldn't even be a check down route on that play anyway. Like, everybody should be at the sticks. Everybody should be over the line for a first down.
You're talking about the drive before the Hail Mary.
Yes.
Yeah, the last drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, you do have a built-in check down, but I would prefer it be someone like a Mecole or Zay Gibson.
No question.
If you get it to him in space, he can make something happen. Especially Gibson, who's returning punts. That's what it's going to look like anyway. You got all the D-backs back deep waiting. Let him run around or something. But that's obviously besides the point. But you see the way he's playing, and it's jitters, right? It looks bad. Yeah. But on the flip side, I will say this, because I'm sure every single Jets content guy has, screamed and yelled about this already. But on the flip side, it is week 3. He hasn't worked all season with the ones. There was going to be a chemistry issue regardless if Rodgers was in. New offense, new weapons. So, like, looking through some green-colored glasses here, maybe it's a chemistry thing. Is what you want to say, though. I mean, what else could I do? I'm refusing to let it stress me out anymore.
If this is his second year in the system, if this was like,
it's a new system, though.
No. If this was like his second year in the league, I should say, if he was, still in, learning things, and there was some improvement, and I was listening to BT and Sal the other day, and he's like, the only improvement that you could look for is the fact that he didn't throw any interceptions. And sure, you could say that he didn't throw any interceptions. It's the only improvement that you could say about this kid. But he was completely neutered. The only time he looked good is when he was running free, which I don't know why they don't draw up plays like that more often, where he can just be loose.
Well, the touchdown drive.
That's what I'm saying.
Was good. He got the ball out quick.
Yeah,
guys made a couple good catches. He had a couple nice throws.
But why can't we draw up an offense more like that drive?
I think they're going to this week,
where he's more comfortable, because clearly what we're doing is not working. Even if we decide to run the ball, they're stacking it. Dalvin Cook is a bum. Done. He's done. Whether he's mentally checked out or he's physically done, and there's no more tread on those tires because he's been in the league for 4 or 5 years, which is a very good possibility. It happens to running backs all of the time. But they're stacking 8 in the box. They're sending blitzes. Zach Wilson can't read defenses and get the ball out. It's very difficult for Zach Wilson, clearly. And what's boggling my mind, this is something that this is why I say that Zach Wilson is not the only one to blame. He's a major part of the reason why we're in this situation, because like you said earlier, there are open guys. There are guys that he's missing, just flat out missing. Not even seeing it. It makes no sense to me. But Paul Hackett and his personnel decisions. I do it all the time. His father's Paul. I do it all the time. Nate Hackett. I always call him Paul. Paul sounds better. It rolls off the tongue a little bit better.
Yeah.
But Nate Hackett and his personnel decisions, dude, are I don't understand. Just the team in general, like not just Paul, Nate, but the team in general. Like, we're running out guys like Uzama, who on tape looks slow. He's got no explosiveness. He's not blocking well.
I called that from the first week.
He's getting beat all of the time, and he's getting 35 plus snaps a game. Randall Cobb is getting 37 snaps a game.
What do you have, 42 last week? Or I guess I think he had like 42.
Something insane. Didn't even touch the ball. Like no, didn't even, was not an impact at all whatsoever.
First down.
Except for having an opportunity to catch that batted ball and missing it for the Hail Mary. But you know, you can't be mad at him because we shouldn't be in that situation to begin with. Like the fact that we only scored 10 points is embarrassing in today's NFL. So like we shouldn't even be in that situation to begin with. The fact that we couldn't beat a team that only put 15 points. And I'm going to hammer the defense because their defense looks flat, but you got to give them credit. They only let up 13 points. They did their job. In today's NFL, if you let up 13 points, you should win 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. If you let up 13 points in today's NFL, you should go 10 for 10. And it's embarrassing. But Nathaniel Hackett, we have guys like Jeremy Ruckert who on the field looks awesome. Every time he's there, he's blocking like very well. He's making big plays in the blocking game, in the run game. You know, that huge 83-yard run that Breece Hall had in week 1 was directly attributed to his block. If he doesn't make his block, Breece doesn't tear that 83-yard run off. 100%. So he got 1 snap on Sunday. Mecole Hardman has been on the field maybe 4 times the entire season. Like this is not like I'm not exaggerating. Like this is a reality.
I think some of them were on specials too.
Yeah,
I don't even think it was in the offense. Like he has maybe one in the offense, and that's it.
No, and you know, he was, you know, if anything, a 3 on Kansas City, if anything.
If anything,
yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was really a gadget player on Kansas City. But at the same time, they made sure he got a couple touches a game because every time he touched the ball, that he could be gone. Like, he's so fast and explosive and can make guys miss that it's worth putting the guy out there. It's worth giving the guy, like, an end around. Like, let's give the guy – you know, a screen pass, like just get the ball out quick, get the ball out of Zach Wilson's hands into our guys' hands. Like let's try maybe running double, like putting Mecole Hardman in the slot and Garrett on the outside and running a double slant, and one of them is going to get open. 5-step, 3-step drop, boom, out of his hands, 5-step slant, someone's going to be open. There's no way that both of those guys, that as fast as they are going to be covered every single time. There's no way. And we're not doing this. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. We have these explosive players, and they're sitting on the bench. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is out there, I understand putting Randall Cobb out there because he's a safety blanket. They have a special chemistry. But we do not have Aaron Rodgers out there.
Not even close.
Not even a fraction of what Aaron Rodgers is.
No. I would take one-legged Aaron Rodgers right now over Zach.
No kidding.
It's a mixture of everything, but I will say this. It's got to be really tough to call an offense when you have a guy like Zach, because guys are getting open. Your scheme is working, and it's not like they have a game plan, essentially, right? And then they're setting up stuff for the second half. And this is something that we went through with, like, Gase and, like, you know, for years now. We're not that team that's like setting people up in the first half and then capitalizing on their leverage now in the second half, like with our game plan.
No, because we can't set up play actions.
We can't execute anything. We have a 3rd and long every single time. There's no like cohesiveness within the whole unit.
Not only is there no cohesiveness. There you go. There's no cohesiveness. There's no creativity. Like it's the most predictable offense that I've ever seen. Like because we have Zach Wilson, I'm okay with trying to run the ball down their throats on first down. I'm okay with that. That's not something that really bothers me. But there's no creativity to the run game. Like there's no misdirections. There's no, maybe little pitches or shuffle. A jet sweep, exactly, or a shuffle pass up in the middle. Like every time Zach Wilson does these little screens, he lasers them in there to the running back, like he throws them 100 miles an hour. Yeah. So how about we stop that and we do it like Patrick Mahomes does and do a little forward shuffle pass, so we can't laser it in there. Like set up a play like that where it's a quick little shuffle pass. Just get the ball out of Zach's hands. Like everything should be 3-step drops because our offensive line is atrocious. Like my father's fucking hilarious, so I love him to death. He goes, do it like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes takes like a 15-step drop and then throws the ball 1,000,000 miles. Like I'm like Zach can't do that. 1, 2. we don't have the offensive line to do that. Like, we can't set up any play actions. We can't do anything. So we have to do everything has to be quick out of Zach Wilson's hands. Like, there should be no decision making for Zach Wilson at this point. Like, it should be 1 or 2 reads, throw the ball away, or scramble. Like, hey, Zach, scramble. Yeah. Like, get the fuck out, go run, try to get a couple yards and slide. Like, that's what it should be every pass play. Like, swing pass, slant, run. You know what I'm saying? Like, on the same side, like, really simple shit, basic shit, and design these plays. Be creative with the play design where there's a good chance that your guy is going to get open. That there's a good chance that your guy's going to be able to be able to make a play in a one-on-one situation. And we have guys that can do it. Like, Alan Lazard's not a game breaker, but he's getting open and he can catch the ball.
He looked better this week. He looked better this week for sure. You know, catching the ball with his hands, you know, getting upfield. He's tough to bring down. And you watch him block, he looks good too.
Yes.
It's crazy that we're not finding more success in the run game. I think it's like almost every time the line does their job, it's only when Dalvin Cook is in the game. And it's like there's open holes and you see him hesitate. You see him stutter. You see him move. It's like Dalvin Cook is playing similar to Zach, in my opinion. You know, it's just hesitant, no confidence. You're not getting after it. And I think the only positive I saw was, you know, obviously that scoring drive we had, but it was like up tempo, which is tough to sustain a whole game. But it's like, fuck it, do it, just do it. You got no choice now.
Absolutely, it should be an up tempo offense. It should, like, look at what Dallas did to the Jets. They were up tempo. They did quick. They got quick throws. Like, everything was quick out of his hands. The reason why CeeDee Lamb had so many catches and so many yards is because every throw was inside 5 yards, and they just put it in his hands and let him run after the catch. There was like,
and they move him around. They move him around. That's what I don't see enough. They like to, because they like to ISO Will Garrett on one side. They're trying to create that one-on-one, which is great, but you're only threatening one side of the field. Get him in motion. Get him carve up the middle. Let him move around. That's going to help Zach read the defense if you see people following.
If Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, I'm fine with putting Garrett out on an island, just let him ISO and do his thing, because Aaron Rodgers is not only going to throw him open, he's going to have a connection with him to know with timing and when breaks are going to happen, when he's going to be able to hit him in that one step opening. Like, he's not going to, he doesn't have to be super open. Garrett Wilson is going to catch the football a lot of times. He's very good at contested catches.
Yeah.
But we have Zach Wilson in there now. So now what we need to be designing is plays specifically to get Garrett Wilson the ball in a little bit of space, like quick screens, quick slants, drag routes. Like, put the ball in his hands just as quick as possible. If he catches it and gets tackled, fine. At least the ball moved forward. If it gets swatted away, fine. And then if they start doubling, tripling Garrett Wilson, then we have to run the ball.
So speaking of which, I think we're going to beat a dead horse with this. We've talked about, it's the same conversation for the last, 2 years ago, all the way up until now with Zach. I cannot talk about that kid anymore. I like him. His arm talent is special. Like, you see him throw, it's like, why? Why do you have to tease us like that? But I want to talk about Breece.
What about
Breece Hall? So he has that electric first game, right? Saw some good blocks. They were obviously juiced up. Dallas, he gets 4 touches, complains about it, right? Also had 2 drops that game. This week, he does get the ball, does nothing with it.
Fumbles.
More drops. Fumbles, more and a drop. And I want to know where you're standing with the running back room, because now we got Michael Carter blowing up on the side. We got Breece with the subtweets now. It seems like the running back room specifically is the one in shambles, falling apart in a way where it's like, whether it's resentment towards the head coach or Zach or whatever the case may be, because you hear the reports that the defense is frustrated, understandably so. But to me, it seems like the running back room is, and in my opinion, they're underproducing way too much to be complaining. But I want to see where you're at.
Listen, Breece Hall has got to catch those balls. He can't be fumbling the ball. That's, if you want to complain about touches, if you want to complain about the blocks not being, whatever it is that you want to complain about, You cannot be dropping balls and you cannot be fumbling the football. If you're doing those things, you need to shut the fuck up. That's how I think. I think that Breece Hall needs more touches. I think they need to put him in positions where he can move the football, whether it is more creative in the run game, putting him in the slot, giving him screens, swing routes, things like that. Or like I said, those little shuffle passes, just getting him in the ball where he can make a play. Because in the passes that he did drop, to be fair, Zach Wilson lasered them in. He threw them a million miles an hour. There was no touch on them whatsoever. You're a professional football player. You're getting paid billions of dollars to catch the football. You should catch the football. Don't get me wrong, but it's not an easy ball to catch. It's like very difficult. It's coming in from 2 feet away at a million miles an hour. But no excuse. He's got to catch it. He's got to catch those balls and make a play. It's a big reason why we're not able to move the football is because he's dropping the ball. When you drop the ball, your coach is going to lose trust in you. Like you want to get those plays. You need to make something of nothing. Our team is in shambles. That we're in a bad place with the offensive line. That Zach Wilson can't really move the football. They're going to stack 8 in the box. Why? You have to make something of nothing if you're going to sit there and complain. Like if he continued to do what he did in week 1, like he's got more yards in week 1 than he does in the other 2 weeks combined.
Yeah. I think he has like more yards than our offense in general.
Yeah.
Like,
facts.
It's like ridiculous. Like it's besides Garrett's massive touchdown that I was there for in Dallas, it was like, what else have we done? Nothing. But honestly, I think the offense is a moot point. I think it might be a little more compelling. I just get into this fucking defense.
Well, I do want to talk about Dalvin Cook for a second because this guy, I don't know what the fuck he's doing and why we're still giving him touches. He doesn't deserve them. He hasn't earned them, and he looks completely flat. He's slow. There's no explosiveness out of him. It's almost like he doesn't want to be there. It's like he's like, I came here to play with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers isn't playing, so I'm just going to mail it in. And I'm not going to give it my all. I'd rather Michael Carter touch the ball than Dalvin Cook at this point. I really would. I'd rather give it to Izzy. Get Izzy in the game. Give it to Mecole Hardman. Give it to somebody who's got some explosiveness. Like, it's mind-boggling to me, and I still cannot believe that Mecole and Jeremy Ruckert are sitting on the bench while our offense is this stagnant, this flat, and these guys can actually make a play and do something, and we're not taking advantage of it. But Dalvin Cook, bum. If he wants to get paid next year, he is not making a case for that at all. His tape is terrible.
Not at all.
And I'd be surprised if he even gets an offer at the end of the year if he continues to play like this. I wouldn't be surprised.
He doesn't look confident. I'll tell you that. He doesn't look confident. And I don't know if it's from the injury, but he doesn't look like he has his legs underneath him either. He's only 1 season removed from ripping an 85-yard touchdown against the Bills. You know what I mean? He comes here and he just looks like, you see him pitter-pattering behind the line. You watch him run and you see the holes are there. Holes that Breece is going to tear right through.
Oh, dude,
he's just not getting it. And it's like he gets tackled from arm tackles, single arm.
That's what's driving me nuts.
He doesn't churn his legs. He doesn't stiff arm. Obviously, I know he had a fumbling problem for a little bit, but it's just it's disheartening to see. I think you gotta juice the offense a little bit. You got to put the guys in. Saleh has to continue that next man up mindset. Start benching motherfuckers, bro.
Yep.
Start benching people. Benching people. If you're not getting open, new guy in. You're not, find the hot hand and ride with it. That's it.
And I know Saleh is not the guy to, publicly, rip somebody. And I hope he's like in Hard Knocks, like he ripped into the offensive line. I hope he's ripping into guys because guys are playing flat. They're not playing to their potential. And I think that would be a huge statement. Like, all right, Dalvin, you want to play like this? You're sitting down. We're putting Izzy and Michael Carter at 2 and 3, and you're going to sit down. Guys across the board, it looks like they're playing flat, and I really think that now we're in a position where we can't take Tomlinson out because Dwayne Brown is hurt. But Tomlinson should be replaced completely by Tittman. Like,
Tittman.
Yeah,
Well,
Tittman's,
Schweizer's out. Schweitzer, whatever. Schweitzer's out with a concussion, so that's why. I mean, I don't know. I kind of have a feeling though that the coaching staff kind of nudged Dwayne Brown onto that IR. Kind of gave him just like a little nudge, instead of Saleh like publicly benching him. Just sort of like, hey man, we can tell you're a little banged up. Why don't you take it easy for 4 weeks? We'll start rotating people in. And the reality is the line played better this week, even though it was their first time. It wasn't terrible.
No,
it wasn't terrible.
no.
The pass pro was pretty solid. The running, because it's a difficult scheme to run in. Like, you have to know what the person next to you is doing a little bit more than you do in the pass pro. So I can understand it being a little
There's
shaky.
a chemistry issue. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if the line looks good next week and Zach still looks like shit. I mean, realistically, like,
Well, that's the thing. Zach is not hitting those throws, those open throws, those quick throws. They're there and they're open. Like Breece Hall was open, Garrett Wilson was open. Like it's not like that we're not seeing them as fans. Like we see them wide open, no one within 10 yards, and they're easy throws to make. So our offensive line wasn't the problem this week. They weren't perfect by any stretch of the means, but they were not. The reason why the Jets lost, even the safety that Zach Wilson took, he held onto the ball way too long. Yeah, I'm literally saying, throw the ball, and he's not fucking doing nothing. But Dalvin Cook's flat. Breece Hall is dropping the football, fumbling it, and they're stacking 8 in the box. I really think we need to design plays to get Garrett Wilson the ball quickly, let him break some runs, let him just. He should be getting 10 targets every single game minimum. Every game minimum. Like whether there's screens, just get the ball in his hands. Let him do something with the ball and see if he can make a play. Because Zach clearly can't. Our running game is struggling. Garrett Wilson, I truly believe, and unless I'm way off, but I truly believe if he has a quarterback, he's a top 5 receiver in the league.
100%. And, kudos to him, honestly. Throughout this whole entire shit show of the first 3 weeks, he's been a leader. He's been outspoken in a positive way. He hasn't dumped on anybody yet. You see him competitive on the sideline, but I want my guys to be competitive. I want them to be troubleshooting in between drives. Like I want him and Zach to be like, you know how it is in a team sport. Like when you're in the middle of the fire there and you're trying to communicate with someone, it doesn't come out calm. It comes out fiery. And it looks like an argument, but the reality is they're trying to figure out how to win. I want to see my guys try to figure out how to win. You remember when Darnold would fuck up, you just see him sitting on the bench.
Yep. Or Mark Sanchez eating a hot dog. Remember that?
So I do like that Zach is willing to be in it and like talk to the guys and all that kind of stuff. It's just, I don't know. I don't see it clicking for him. But yeah, I think we need a little juice in the lineup. We need a spark, and that it happens every year. Last year the spark was when Quinnen blew up on White Cotton. Remember that in the Bengals game? Mm-hmm. He blew up on White Cotton because our defense looked pretty average the first 3 weeks or whatever that was, and then the defense kicked it into high gear.
Yes, they did.
I think that I'm hoping that New England loss was the kick in the ass, was the spark, and we see a little bit more effort. Especially, and you know what too, because we're gonna talk about it on defense about momentum changing plays, but having a guy like Ruckert in the lineup and him just with his bulldog mentality, just flying at people, trying to run them over. Those are those moments that set the tone, even if it's a 5-yard
God forbid
game.
we put him in the game, Eric. God forbid. One snap. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What
We're conservative.
Are we doing? It makes no sense. Like that's not on Zach Wilson. That's on Nate Hackett. That's a terrible decision, whether it's coming down from the top. But speaking of spark, and maybe you're right in the New England game is a spark, but I think there's a potential that this Sunday at Sunday Night Football, there might be another spark attending the football game.
Yep.
And if you watched our guy Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee, which I'm so glad he's still doing, dude.
Yeah,
I'm so glad he is still doing, because that's the only little bit of hope seeing him on the Pat McAfee show, like the way he's feeling, because I think I texted you on Sunday, like, there's no way Aaron Rodgers was watching that game being like, yeah, this is great football, guys. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
There's no way. Like, he was watching that game and he was like, yeah, this is like, we're in this. We got a shot. And of course, if he's there, we win that game, no question. It's not even close.
Tim Boyle's in, I think we win that game. To be honest.
I don't know, dude. It's very possible. It's very,
You
very
know what I
possible.
mean?
I think
Like,
I think Trevor Siemian, who we just signed, is better than Zach Wilson. I do. I think Trevor Siemian is better. I think hopefully by week 5 he's the starting quarterback, because this is ridiculous. Like someone posted actually something earlier today that why aren't we making calls for guys like Davis Mills, who actually moved the football on a team that had zero weapons? Zero weapons. They had nothing in Houston.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He turns into Zach though. Like if you watch some of his games, like if you like follow Asman at all, like especially last year when he was covering Houston a lot more, there was a lot of hype with Mills, like because he surprised everybody. He had like the best stats out of all that rookie class, and then he'll have those 4-pick games and those meltdowns and miss people.
He was 16-10 last year with nobody on his team, no help. 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Zach Wilson is lucky to have 2.
Yeah, did he even throw 10 TDs last year?
Zach?
Yeah, because he got benched.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think he did. Because we went 5-2 with him. I think
Zach Wilson is not putting up 16 touchdowns. He's not. Realistically, think about this.
Yeah.
This is where we're at. It's not like there's many options. There's not many options. Like I don't think Trevor Siemian's a good quarterback by any stretch of the means. I think he's better than Zach Wilson, but that's not saying much. No. He's not a good quarterback, and I don't think he's a serviceable backup either. I really don't. There's so many other options. I think bringing in a guy, kicking the tires on Davis Mills, kicking the tires on Jacoby Brissett, kicking the tires on Sam Darnold, like seeing what's available and if anybody's willing to deal. It's probably not many, but it doesn't even seem like the Jets are trying. Even bringing in a guy like Carson Wentz, like the guy scores touchdowns. He may be a little bit reckless with the football. He may be disliked in the locker room, but at this point in the game, our team doesn't really like Zach, I don't think. Like they wouldn't be wearing Mike White shirts last year. Like we're in a situation where we need a guy who can just get first downs and move the football and maybe get a couple field goals. Really think about this. Like give me a couple field goals. I'll take. Red zone. Yeah, get in the red zone. Like let's do something. And I think Carson Wentz could actually do that. Like he's definitely better than Zach. He may not be good, but we have weapons, and Carson Wentz can maybe get rid of the football on time. A resurgence in his career. I'll take him at this point.
Quick update here: Zach has thrown a total of 17 touchdowns in his career. Goodness. A total of 17 in his career.
And we're on year 3, folks. We're on year 3.
So little perspective there.
Like you want to say, "Oh, Davis Mills isn't shit." I will gladly take Davis Mills, who started full season in the league, has played with a shitty offense, and still moved the football. Like we have a defense. Like the Houston Texans did not have any defense last year, especially near what we have this year. And our defense, which we're going to get into right now, is not playing up to its potential at all. They're completely flat. I will give them credit. Like I said earlier, they only allowed 13 points in the game, which is awesome. It's amazing. Very rarely do you see that in today's NFL where offenses can't score more than 20 points. It's very, very hard in today's NFL in the way it's designed, how wide receivers are protected, how the quarterbacks are protected. They've made this game purposely so the game score is very high. It's better for entertainment. It's better for ticket sales. It's better for TV watching. Watching the Jets play this past weekend was not fun. Like, even if we won that game, even if we somehow pulled that game out, like, I'd still be sitting here saying, that was like watching paint dry. Like, that was miserable.
No,
I was watching the other games.
The only good thing about it was, like, the only good thing about it was that, like, we had that scoring drive, and it was like, shit, we could see a comeback again at home. That would be cool, I guess.
I was at the casino watching the game, and the game was over, so I was going to play some craps, and in between rolls, I was going to check to see what was going on, and I had to stop. I was like, wow, we have a shot to come back here. And then on that 4th and 9, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm walking away. And I come back, and somehow we have the ball again. I'm like, wait a second. What?
Yeah.
We have a shot. But at the same time, like, the entire game was so boring. There was no explosive plays, and that's what I want to get into with this defense. Like, our defense only let up 13 points, which is awesome. But just like last year, we didn't take the ball away. We didn't sack anybody. There was 0 sacks. We couldn't even sniff Mac Jones. Like, it wasn't even like we were in his face, putting him on his ass and, making him rush throws. Like, he sat back there cool, calm, and collected the whole afternoon. And I'm sick and tired. Like, I'm sick and tired of these personnel decisions and this stubbornness to not adapt with the defense and with the offense. And I blame this completely on Robert Saleh, completely, because he's the tone setter, he's the head coach, and he has a lot to say, especially with the defense. But
yeah.
With the offense as well, following suit. They're not making any halftime adjustments. They're not doing anything to be creative, and they're putting out just the same old tired personnel. Same thing with Robert Saleh. We have this first round pick that we spent a high draft pick on, and he's not seeing the field. I don't even think he's been on the field once. I really don't. Has he even suited up once?
I think he was he there? I think he was there week 1, right? Wasn't he?
I'm not sure. I have not seen number 99 on the field.
Maybe not.
I have not seen a
not.
number 99 dressed. I haven't seen him on the field. We spent this high draft pick on him, and we hyped him up to be this game wrecker in preseason, in training camp. Like, he's wrecking the game. Like, our offensive line can't block him, which, looking at it now, it's like, all right, our offense can't block shit.
Explains a lot.
But even still, our defense is not putting any pressure on the quarterback. And we continually put out these guys, and Quinnen's getting triple teamed, and Carl Lawson might as well hang him up. Like, I haven't heard his name at all. Like, nowhere to be found. Jermaine Johnson, who I hyped up heavily this season, has been very, very quiet this entire season. He's made a few plays, but for the most part has been extremely quiet. Hasn't really made an impact at all in any game. It's not like I'm hearing, Jermaine Johnson blew up that play. Nothing. Yeah. So our defensive ends aren't doing anything. Nobody is getting to the quarterback. Quinnen Williams is doing the best he can. He's getting double and triple teamed every play, which should free up other guys. And what drives me nuts, Eric, and this goes to the adjustments, is that we continue to go out there and use this system. Oh, my system doesn't blitz. We don't blitz. We send 4 guys and we cover, and we put 7 back. That's what we do. We don't make any adjustments. We don't say, hey, wait a second. We need to put pressure on the quarterback. This Russian 4 guy shit isn't working. Let's, maybe we could send Quincy Williams in on a stunt or something. Like, maybe we could do something like that. The guy's got some speed. Just maybe try. Or maybe we'll bring in Will McDonald, put him on the outside, and see what he can do.
Well, here's the thing with that, because I was thinking about that too recently.
Please tell me that. Enlighten me, Eric. I'd love to know. Because I'm ready to rip my hair out.
Yeah, well, you should be, because it's not going to be good news. But the reality is that no one is going to throw deep on us. No one needs to try to throw deep on us. Why risk throwing towards Sauce or DJ, who looks good? Why risk it when if it's 3rd and 8, you can run the ball, improve your field position, punt it, and you're going to get it right back in the fucking red zone. You're going to get it at the 50. You're going to gain
10 yards every time you punt because you're going to
it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's no need for them to there's no desperation. They don't feel any desperation. So all they're going to do is dink and dunk. So now if we send blitzes, our linebackers are shit in coverage to begin with. We're leaving someone exposed. It's a shit show. It's a shit show, and unfortunately, it starts from the offense. If we had a guy like a real game breaker, like a Fred Warner, patrolling the middle of that field, now I'd say send Quincy on because he's a cannonball. But we don't. We got Mosley, who's lost 3 steps. You know what I mean? We got CJ Mosley, who can't read an offense. Like
CJ Mosley is the most overrated linebacker in the NFL. The most overrated linebacker in the NFL. I'm sorry. He eats up nothing but 5-6 yard plus tackles, because that's what he does. He never makes an impact play. Every interception that he has an opportunity to make, he drops. Yeah, every single one. He's never like, CJ Mosley's all over the ball. Like, it's like, he made a tackle on a guy who got 5-6 yards in the play every single time. He's never making a tackle at the line. He's never blowing up a play. Like, if he's supposed to be this smart defensive general, He should know where the ball is going before the play is even snapped. Like, how many times you hear that the great middle linebackers who are considered really, really good, they're like, oh yeah, I knew where the ball was going beforehand.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think he does know. I think that, like, because if you see, we look like
Doesn't
shit
look like
without.
that.
We look like shit without him, though. We do look like shit
Oh,
without him.
we look worse without him, no question.
You
No
know,
question.
But he gets people in position. That's kind of what he's known for. But he just doesn't have it anymore to do it. It's like, and I get that that's the value of C.J. Mosley is that, you know, he's the general back there, and he helps keep the defense, like, together as a unit, and we look good. We look disciplined. We don't look like killers. We look disciplined, and that's an attribute to the coaching and to a guy like Mosley. But if that's all he offers, put him on the fucking sideline with a headset. Put him on the sideline with a headset. Let him coach, because we need some fresh blood. I honestly think it's underrated how bad we need a real game-changing middle linebacker.
I agree.
I would trade draft capital for a legit middle linebacker, right? So now we're dead. Now we have at least one star at each level, and that's when we're going to see them turnovers come, because everyone's going to, like I said, everyone's going to play us conservative. We didn't have a lot of turnovers last year because we were never fucking winning.
Well, the Cowboys, but that's how we win. Like, the only reason we won against the Bills is because we had 3 fucking turnovers. You know, because even though some of those turnovers were punts, those interceptions were punts, the fumble is huge. The fumble is huge, and it's a big momentum shifter. Like, that momentum is very real.
Yes, that's what I wanted to get into also.
And we have no impact plays. There's no one, you know, getting into the backfield and sacking the quarterback, and you know, we're celebrating because it's a big sack. Like, we should be getting, you know, 9-10 pressures a game with our defense, and we're not getting anything. So we need to adjust. Like, our defensive line is clearly not enough right now to get to the quarterback. And maybe just maybe, Eric, again, I'm no defensive coordinator. I'm no fucking wizard. But it seems like a lot of teams are figuring out the Jets' defense. Cowboys really set a good blueprint. If we move around our best wide receiver, we dink and dunk, don't allow them to pressure us, they're not going to be able to get to the quarterback. They're not going to be able to get sacks. And we're going to be able to get our playmakers the ball, because our playmakers not going to be covered by their best cornerbacks because we're moving them around.
Yep.
And we're just going to move the ball. We're going to run the ball down their throats because we know they're not blitzing. We know that it's just their defensive line. And then we're going to dink and dunk and just get first downs and have 12 play drives and score some points. Because that's what everybody's doing. They're moving around their best guys. Like, even the Bills, like, you saw Diggs. He was in the slot. He was all over the place because every team knows, oh, they're just going to keep Sauce on the left, DJ Reed in the right, and they're going to stay there. Well, why am I going to line up my best wide receiver against one of those guys when I could put him right here, and he's got to go up against a nickel cornerback or a linebacker or a safety? Like, why wouldn't I do that? Like, why are other teams able to see that with the Jets, and the Jets can't be like, okay, here's a weakness, let's exploit it and move things around? We can't do any of that.
They're banking on exceptional performances, right? They're banking on the game breaker that we have, Quinnen, either eating up double teams and allowing someone like Lawson, who just doesn't look the same, to get to the quarterback.
Terrible.
And he looks terrible. JJ seems to have fallen off a little bit, but it's all still coming from that idea that they don't have to take risks. The best way to beat a conservative defense is to play conservative offense. Mm-hmm. And it's bend, don't break, right? Yep. But if you give up 4 yards a play, you lose. You lose, and that's what we do.
That's exactly what they do.
And then that's how, you know, we blow a coverage, because they're constantly just sticking to their zones. They're not playing like primal football where it's like, that's your man, get it, or that's the quarterback, get him. And it's just
this comes down to coaching. Eric, I'll tell you right now, throughout my life watching football, the best coaches I've ever seen are not the coaches that have a great system and say, hey, this system is great. I don't care what you're really good at. You're going to be good in this system, even though your strengths don't really fit this system, or they kind of do, but not. There are other things that we could use that are much better. Use you for that are much better. But because this system is so great, we're going to stick to it.
Yeah.
None of the best coaches ever do that. Don Shula, considered one of the best coaches of all time, if not the best coach of all time, because Bill Belichick is a cheater.
Yes.
Don Shula won all of his championships in the 70s with defense and a run game. He was a huge proponent of a strong run game and running it down your throats. He hated throwing the football. Like, he was one of those old school, back in the day, he came up with Johnny Unitas and the Colts, like, we run the football. Then all of a sudden, in the 80s, they drafted a guy, Dan Marino. He goes, well, wait a second. I've never seen a guy that can throw a football like this. Oh, we're not running it anymore, guys. We're going to throw it. Dan Marino's rookie year, he threw like 48 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wait a second. I got a guy who could throw the football. I'm gonna do this. I got a guy who could do this. So he built a system and playbook around that guy. We have a defense and defensive players on that team that could, put in right positions, can play, be utilized in ways that other players in the league can't be. Like, I guarantee Sauce, you could put him on their number one guy, say, hey, here you go, your job, shadow him all day. You're a man on him all day. That's your job all fucking day. Like, that's what he did in college. He was a man up cornerback. That's what he did. Like, that was the big knock on him coming into this Jets team, is like, wait a second, why do we draft him? He's not a zone guy. We run a zone scheme. He's a man coverage guy. Why are we putting him in this situation? He's a man coverage. We should be putting him in man coverage against their best guy week in and week out, every single week. Oh, you want to move these guys around? That's going to totally blow up every team's game plan of, let's just move our guys around, dinking and dunking, get 4 yards here, 5 yards there, and then we design our defense to make sure that our front seven don't let up big runs, and let our DJ Reed and our safeties roam. If you want to run a zone scheme.
I'd like to see it more. I definitely like to see it.
Try it. Like, what do we have to lose, Eric? We need turnovers. Yeah. We need something. Like,
it's gonna be tough to install a new defense mid-season, though.
No, but right? It's not installing a completely new defense. It's adding wrinkles to the current defense. That's what it is. It's adding wrinkles to the current defense. It's taking the same defense, because the scheme is not terrible. Like, we're keeping teams to low scoring points, but when we play these really good teams that have explosive players, like, this is why the Vikings beat us last year, is because they were able to get Justin Jefferson the football. They moved him around. They got Justin Jefferson the football. CeeDee Lamb, they moved him around. He got how many targets? 14 targets against
Something
the Jets?
like that. Yeah. He
shouldn't be getting, like, when Darrelle Revis was in the game, Megatron got 3 targets. Like, 3.
Yeah.
3. Like, every time we played these big-time receivers, they got no targets and 0. They were no one heard of them the entire game. Now, I don't expect Sauce to lock down their best receiver the entire game, but what does Bill Belichick do every time he plays a team? Oh, this guy is really good? Not touching the ball. Nothing, nowhere near this guy. Every single time he plays a team, they're like, oh, what's their best part of their offense? Oh, okay, he's not touching it the rest of the game. He's not going to see shit. Like, why can't we do that?
Well, we wouldn't need to if we had a pass rush, right? That's their scheme. So when we play, like, especially you get, like, deep into the playoffs, these teams have great quarterbacks, right? And they're going to pick people apart. The best way to take out a good quarterback is to take out a good quarterback. Yes. And, like, last year we had pressure the whole time. Dude, Lawson got held on every play. He was in the quarterback's face the whole time.
Eric, I'm with you.
We're not getting that this year.
I'm with you.
The pass rush is lacking, dude.
I'm with you.
The pass rush is lacking. And I think DJ is good enough to play his side. Sauce is going to play his side. I think Whitehead looks better this year. Tony Adams is going to have to develop a little bit. But not having that, I would agree more with sending some blitzes than having Sauce necessarily follow people. But if you remember, against Baltimore last year, Sauce followed Mark Andrews.
For the most part.
Yeah. For the most part. And then you know, what's his name? Bryce Hall got beat over the top from what was that? Was that No, that was Duvernay.
Yeah,
you know
Duvernay.
What I mean? So you give up, you risk the big play. So I understand the thinking, but the execution is just trash.
But the problem is, Eric, everybody knows what our defense is going to do. They know that we're not going to blitz. They know that Sauce is going to stay on the left side. Reed's going to stay on the right side. They know this. They go into the game. They're like, they look at the tape. They're like, oh, this guy stays over here. This is fun. I am not an offensive wizard. I am not a fucking genius over here. But if I was watching the tape and I was like, man, Sauce is really good. DJ Reed's really good. We got this really good wide receiver. I'm not going to put him over there. I'm going to put him in motion. I'm going to put him in the slot. I'm going to put him where these guys aren't, because I'm trying to win the game. Like, I'm not going to try to, run into a brick wall over and over and over again. I'm going to do something different and make adjustments because I'm a good coach, and I'm going to figure out ways to get my playmaker the ball. So when you see that it's not working, because the issue isn't that we're not getting pressure. I think the issue is that a lot of these quarterbacks are getting the ball out of their hands quickly. If you notice, the Cowboys, all of the passes were inside 5 yards, every single one. How are you going to get pressure when it's 3-step drops, get the ball out of your hands quickly? You can't. There's not enough time. They know that this is coming. They know that they're going to have a good defensive line that's going to be able to put pressure on 5-step and longer developing plays. So, okay, let's shorten the field. Do 5-yard slants, drags, screens, so that they can't put pressure on the quarterback. We know that Sauce is on the left side, DJ Reed's on the right side. So let's put our guy away from those guys, and he's going to get open. He's going to beat everybody else in the field. Everybody else he's going to get open on. So since they're not going to be smart enough to put their best guy on our best guy, we're going to exploit that. Like, it's not rocket science here. Like, I don't think I'm making up some magical wizardry here. You know
it's
what
just
I'm
a different
saying?
kind of defense, right? So they are willing to give the short stuff. So it depends on pass rush on 7-step drops, and then it depends on the linebackers and safeties taking good angles and sticking somebody. And we're taking bad angles. We're missing tackles left and right. Quincy last week was all over the place.
We're giving up third and 15s, dude.
Yeah.
Like we
So
can't get off the field.
It's just, I think it's execution. It's they look flat. I mean, I don't know about you. This year I haven't seen as like last season. It was like every other play, someone on our team is absolutely cracking somebody. I haven't seen them.
It was a lot of Quan Alexander, I'll tell you that.
True,
a lot,
Quan, that's
a lot
right.
of Quan Alexander just laying people out.
I forgot about him.
And yeah, listen. I'm more for like the Tony Adams. Like, Tony Adams is more of a ball hawking safety. Seems like Whitehead is leaning that way as well. Where guys like Quan Alexander and what's his face from last year, who was Taylor Joyner, who was fucking atrocious.
Yeah.
They were big hitting safeties. Whereas these guys are going after the ball, but that's the problem. We're not getting the ball either, and because our defense is very predictable. It's like, oh, okay, they're going to give us a couple yards, so we're going to have an offensive scheme the entire game where we know we're going to get 3, 4, 5 yards every single play. First down, we'll get 3 yards. Second down, we'll get 4 yards. Third down, we'll get another 2 yards, and we're going to move the football, and we're fine moving the ball that way and getting a couple points. I'm fine with that, because we know what? Guess what? The Jets aren't going to move the fucking football. So since we know that, since we fucking know that, like, it'd be one thing if this was like a fluke and we didn't know our offense was terrible. But we know this. Like, this is what we know. So as a good coach, the scheme may be great. It may be working. But what we're doing as a team, as a whole, is not. So we have to figure out ways to win the football game and make some adjustments as a team, like as a whole team. We cannot just say, okay, Zach Wilson, just figure it out, dude. Figure it out. Good luck. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. What are we doing? We have to figure something new out. We got to try something new. And whether it's putting pressure on the quarterback, trying to force turnovers, like that's what we have to do. Try to force turnovers, not bend, and force them to punt. We need to force turnovers. We need defensive touchdowns. Like, let's be real. Like, this is what we need. We need to hit the quarterback a lot, cause him to fumble. We need to get him to throw the ball earlier than he wants so our quarterbacks can make some plays. But we can't do that if our defense is going to be predictable. Like, They know what we're gonna do. They know, okay, they're not gonna blitz us, so we don't have to worry about that. They're not gonna move Sauce or Reed around ever. We don't have to worry about that. Like, if you're gonna do that most of the game, fine, I'm down with that. But like, let's mix it up every once in a while. Like, so we're not so predictable. Like, oh, wait a second, Sauce is in the slot right now? We haven't seen this before. What's going on? It would throw it. Like, what are we doing?
No, 100%. And if those reports about the defense being frustrated with like Saleh and stuff are true, that's another thing. Like with the running backs, where I'm just like, take over the game then. Take over the game. The 2000 Ravens said the same thing. They can't win if they don't score. Make some shit happen, dude. Like, make some shit happen. If Sauce, you have a pick six in your fucking hands.
Yep, gotta make that play.
Make that play. Mosley's dropping picks.
Yep.
Hit someone hard.
Fumbles. We can never recover a fumble. God forbid.
Right? Do something then. Do something.
Against the Cowboys, we had that fumble on CeeDee Lamb, and the lineman was 15 yards down the field and recovered the fumble. Like,
unbelievable.
How does that happen? It's insane. But no, listen. This is far from the defense's fault. This is not even close to the defense's fault. The defense let up 13 points. They played very well. But the reality of the situation is Zach is what he is. He's not going to be any different. We can't expect him to be any different. And our offense is going to be very lackluster, very lethargic. We're not going to score a lot of points. So as a head coach, you should be like, okay, this is the situation that we're in. How can we adjust this situation and make an improvement so maybe we can score on defense? What can we do differently? Like, what we're doing right now clearly isn't working, because if we can't, our offense can't score them more than 10 points, Eric. 10 points.
Yeah.
You can't win football games scoring 10 points.
No, but I will say this upcoming game is the opportunity to try some new shit. We're not expected to win it anyway. Let it rip. Let it hang. If Zach's going to play, let him play. Let him throw. Let him do something. Figure it out. Get the ball in someone else's hands. Defense needs to just attack, and that's it. I mean, give it a shot.
How about we throw slant? Like, let's send Garrett Wilson on slant after screen after slant. Like, just put the ball in his hands, dude. Like 2-3 yards, Garrett Wilson has the ball. Boom, and maybe he gets an extra 2 or 3, or maybe he breaks it. Like, he's very capable of doing that. Get it out of Zach's hands, quick. Like, hey, Zach, here's what the read is. If he's not there, hit it to your check down and move on. That's it.
They are throwing short passes, but, on a 3-step drop, Zach is still holding the ball. He's not throwing with anticipation. Like, he's not throwing to where Garrett's going to be. He's waiting to see him open. And, dude, you see, like, Jordan Love, he had a pass last week where the guy's not open. He's in double coverage. He threw it right to the spot where he was going to be. No one even knew the ball was going to come out yet, right? That's like high-level quarterbacking. I don't think I've seen that once from Zach. He has enough arm strength to just force it in.
Why can't, like, is he not watching film? Is he not studying tape? Like, why is it that he cannot do that? Like, why does he, like, he should know the playbook. He should know where his wide receivers are going to be on every single play. Like, oh, Garrett's going to be here. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to throw it that way 10 times a game. Like, he's that good. He's going to make me look good. I'm going to make bad throws, and he's going to help me out because he's that good. I'm just going to throw it his way. I'm just going to figure it out, throw it his way. If he's not open, I'm going to check it down, or I'm going to try to get 2-3 yards by scrambling and running the football. Like,
well, he's playing like he doesn't want to be the reason why they lose, and he's okay with not being the reason why they win. Do you know what I mean? So it's like he's playing conservatively, overthinking, and it's hurting the team. So he is, in turn, the reason why they're losing, but he's playing like he doesn't want to be the reason to lose. It's almost like if you're on a basketball team, it's like you're never going to lift your hand up for them to pass you the ball because you're afraid you're not going to make the shot. That's just kind of where he's at. He's looking for the safest possible throw every single time, and the best quarterbacks don't do that. Their gauge of what a safe throw is knowing where your guy's going to be and where the defender is not going to be, and then being accurate from there. And he doesn't have it. And we all know those guys, especially in like the wrestling room. They got all this talent in the world, but then it's a one-on-one, it's a dual meet, the lights are on, and he doesn't show up.
They can't do it. Oh, absolutely.
That's Zach.
Without a doubt, Zach is definitely that way. He can't handle the big lights of New York.
No,
This Utah
not one
boy,
bit.
he's getting all of the heat, and rightfully so. Like, this is what everybody's worry about Aaron Rodgers was. Like, if he comes here, this is the New York sports world. Like, this is what it is. Like, it's not going to change. It's been like this for as long as sports have been existing. We love very hard and we're very critical when we're not doing well. It's just, it is what it is. And Zach Wilson clearly can't handle it. But maybe Aaron Rodgers being at the game, hopefully having a headset, will help him out, help calm his nerves, help him see the field a little better. Like, maybe he'll be looking at the iPad in between, drives, and maybe the offense will be smart enough where he's like, okay, this was open in the first half, and come back to that play in the second half. And he's like, oh, I know what to do now because Aaron Rodgers showed me this on the iPad and I can I know where to go with it.
Well, he's not going to be on the sideline because he can't move around. So he'd be up in a booth somewhere. So, he's not going to be that direct.
No, he said he might be on the sideline because he'll have one of those wheelie things.
That would be pretty cool. That would be an awesome visual.
One of those knee things. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but how's he going to get out of the way if someone runs out of bounds? They better surround him by a fucking SWAT team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He probably won't be on the sideline, but like he'll probably be like on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Like in that area is what I'm saying.
Well, that would be cool. And that's one thing to look forward to.
There's really nothing. We're going to try to do a pregame show on Sunday, but just a little pregame of this coming Sunday. I have zero expectations of anything. I expect a loss. I expect our offense to move the ball very minimally. The Chiefs defense looks pretty good. I am actually firing them up in my fantasy league.
You might as well.
I picked them up last week because they were playing the Bears, and I was like, oh man, they're playing the Jets the week after. Should I keep them? And I'm like, yep. And I told my buddy this afternoon, I was like, it hurts my heart that I'm starting the Chiefs defense. Like I want to drop them just on principle, just because I'm a Jets fan, just on principle alone. But I expect them to get turnovers. I expect Zach Wilson to not score any touchdowns. And if we're lucky, we'll get 6 points. That's literally the state of things. Like, I expect a couple field goals, like at best. And our defense, with the lack of weapons that Kansas City has, I still have a hard time believing that we're going to be able to keep Patrick Mahomes to 13 points. I bet they're going to be close to 28 points. It'll probably be 28-6 is my prediction. That's how bad it is. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, it's very likely. It's very likely. I mean, I guess what you can look forward to is seeing if the defense bounces back. That's it. Hopefully we have one thing to be proud. Like last season, we had one thing to be proud of. Yeah, it was fun thinking that we can go to the playoffs. No one ever thought we would, though. But seeing what the defense can do against we definitely should have. But I didn't have faith
when we were 7-3, I was like, yeah, playoffs all day, all fucking day. When we were 7-3, we went 0-for-6 in the last 6 games. All we needed to do is win one game. All we needed to do was win one game.
But
and we're
the writing was on the wall the first 7 games anyway. Zach's putting up 100 yards. Like it was all
0 touchdowns.
Brees goes down. Yeah, it was
0 in 6 weeks in 2023. If this was 1954 or even the 80s, I'd be like, 0 touchdowns. You can see that happening. But 2023, 0 touchdowns in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what I think that might be more of an embarrassing stat than 0-15 against the Patriots. It might be more embarrassing than any, like 0 touchdowns, 0 in 2023 in today's NFL, where it's the entire NFL and the rules are geared to scoring high amounts of points. Lots of points are supposed to be scored, and we can't score any.
No. Yeah. I mean, what else is there to say about that? I mean,
we're in the same situation
right now. Yeah, it's the exact same right now, and I mean, realistically, if he looks like shit again this week, he's done, right? I mean, I would imagine he's done anyway.
Robert
So, get past
Saleh
this.
went on TV, Eric, and said Zach Wilson is the unquestioned starting quarterback the rest of the season. After watching a performance like that, I don't care if you don't. I don't care if you don't like throwing your guys under the bus. I'm okay with that. But to go out and say that he's the yeah, Zach needs to play better. We need better production out of our quarterback. Is not throwing your quarterback under the bus. Watching that football game.
Yeah.
Like it'd be one thing if we were in the game and like it came down to the 2-minute drive and Zach Wilson didn't play well and we lost like 17-13 or something like that. But like we went 3 and out every drive, Eric. Every fucking drive we went 3 and out. You cannot sit there and tell me as a New York Jets fan that this is okay. And that you're going to tell me that this guy is the unquestioned quarterback. The only reason that we didn't have a serviceable backup, Eric, the only reason that they didn't bring in a guy that could be a backup, not even to take the job of Zach Wilson, was so we didn't hurt poor little Zach's feelings and make his confidence worried so he could get out there and play some football, Eric. In the NFL in 2023, this is why we didn't bring in a backup. We're going to keep Tim Boyle because we're scared that we're going to hurt the guy's confidence.
I think it's going to end anyway. I think it's going to end this week. I think
NFL football! We're not in college. We're not fucking babying people. This is $1 billion franchise. And it's NFL football. Like, look at Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan. They drafted Trey Lance super high. They were like, wait, we got this guy that we drafted in the 6th round or in the 7th round, Mr. Irrelevant. He looks pretty damn Sam Darnold, a guy who's been terrible his entire career, looks pretty damn good. Looks better than Trey. We're getting rid of him. Oh, we made a mistake, guys. Dumb decision, trading all his draft picks. And they traded all their draft picks to get him. We didn't even trade nothing to get him. And we're still hanging on like, this is the guy. We got him, guys. This is the future of our franchise right here. Come on. It's 2020. There's no excuse. Like, to sit there and tell me that he's the unquestioned quarterback, like, we'll close on this, Eric, because I did want to talk about this. The fact that he is saying this, the fact that he's continually trotting Zach Wilson out there leads me to believe that Woody Johnson told him without a shadow of a doubt that his job is secure. He's not going to lose his job. And he can do basically whatever the fuck he wants because he got dealt a shitty hand. I mean, let's be real. Aaron Rodgers going down after 4 plays is out of his control. It happens. It's the NFL. It's a really shit hand, and most teams with their backup quarterback aren't going to win games. But they're going to move the football. Like we've seen backup quarterbacks move the football over and over.
Dobbs.
Yeah,
exactly. I cannot fucking get over it.
We can go all over the place. I mean, Nick Foles was a backup quarterback and won the Super Bowl with a good team. He was a backup quarterback. Everybody's like, let's get Nick Foles. Nick Foles has been a terrible quarterback outside of that playoff run. That was a great
offensive line, though.
And it was a great all-time great offensive line. But also at the same time, outside of that playoff run, he has done nothing. And everybody's like, bring Nick Foles in. I'm like, he's not the answer either. Like, let's stop with this. But he has to have the grace of Woody Johnson. But if that's the case, I'll go back to Eric Mangini and Brett Favre. When we brought in Brett Favre, he gave Eric Mangini assurances that his job was secure. And what happened? Next year, he was fired. Gone. So those assurances from Woody Johnson aren't set in stone, if you ask me. And those insurances change based on the reaction of the fans and the ticket sales that happen. Because I'll tell you right now, you keep trotting Zach Wilson out there, fans aren't going to go. They're not going to go to games.
Yeah.
They're not.
Tickets last week were $35.
And I'll tell you right now, if I was home in New Jersey, I would go to tailgate just to tailgate, but I wouldn't go into the game. I would fucking go home and watch the game. I'd go to a bar. Like, I'm not going to spend money on tickets to go into that stadium and watch this shit performance. And people aren't going to, and they're going to, season tickets holders are going to start selling their tickets. It's going to be away games at home very soon. And if that's the case, Woody Johnson, that's Woody Johnson's bottom line is ticket sales and money and revenue. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about winning championships. He doesn't give a shit at all. And the only thing that's going to save this weekend, this game, like I guarantee the NFL put in a call. I guarantee the NFL was like, hey, Aaron, dude, like if you don't show up to this game and give us some hype, like gives people a reason to tune into Sunday Night Football, a very big game, and for the NFL, they make millions of dollars on those games. Yeah. If you don't show up, no one's going to tune in. No one's going to watch. Nobody. Like everybody's like, Sunday, I'll go do something more fun and more productive than watch the Chiefs blow out the Jets, literally blow them out. Because that's what I don't even know what the spread is. I guarantee it's 12 to 14 points.
I think it's 13.
Yeah, I'm not shocked at all. Like if Aaron Rodgers doesn't go to that game and say, hey, I'm going to be on the sideline and do that little promo, no one's watching. Nobody.
No, I mean, and why would you?
Jets fan, like I'm a diehard Jets fan, and I don't even want to watch that game because I'm going to be sitting there watching the TV, screaming for fucking 4 hours at the TV.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
doing the same thing. So
is the rest of us. Screaming at the TV, like he was wide open. Why did you throw the ball? Yeah. It makes no sense. It's pointless to even waste my time watching the game because I know what's going to happen, and that's what I worry about with Robert Saleh. Banking on the fact that his job is secure because of this poor hand that he's been dealt. And also, I don't
think it's on him, though. I mean, like, how much of it's not on him to bring in a quarterback.
No.
You know what I mean? That's on Joe D.
But he can bring in Tim Boyle and bench Zach Wilson. He can do that. He can put in Jeremy. Say, hey, Nate, put in fucking Jeremy Ruckert and fucking let's get Mecole Hardman a couple touches. Like, let's do something here. Like, he's the head coach of the team. He needs to make some executive decisions with the offense. Like, things are not working, and he's not doing anything. He's not making any adjustments whatsoever. And he's just saying, oh, everything's fine. We believe in Zach. He's our guy, unquestioned quarterback. And that's it. Like I'm riding with this guy, and the fans are done. We're done. We're fed up. Nobody wants to see this football anymore.
No, especially off the like coming from that off-season hype.
Yep.
Like so, with those expectations, and we're back to last year. It's I don't even know. I think I'm just numb. Honestly, I'm just. And the only thing I'm very numb. The only thing that I think that is really keeping Robert Saleh safe, more so than Woody Johnson giving him assurances, is the fact that Aaron Rodgers loves him. It's the fact that Aaron Rodgers really does lose Robert Saleh. JD does too.
And so does JD. Absolutely. But if we lose, if we don't bring in, if Zach Wilson goes out there and Trevor Siemian goes out there and continues to perform this way, we don't make a trade, we don't do something, Joe D should be just as much in the hot seat as Robert Saleh. And that's really tough for me to say because I am so sick and tired of the revolving door at GM and head coach that we've had for the past decade and a half. I'm really sick and tired of it. We need some continuity. We need some consistency. But at the same time, like this is being run like a complete clown show. It's embarrassing. It's like when people say like, why is Mecole Hardman not on the field, or why is your first round draft pick? Like we could have drafted Jonathan Smith and Jigba. Like he was still on the board. He would have been a weapon for this team. Our wide receiver room is pretty weak. It's not a super strength that we have right now. Like we have a really good wide receiver and then a couple mediocre guys. Jonathan Smith and Jigba could be an impact player on this offense right now. But we decided to draft this guy who you told us was making all of these plays, and he's not even suiting up. Makes no sense. It's a terrible call. Mekhi Becton over Christian Wirfs. We could have had Wirfs, who's playing at an all-pro level. He was literally saved by that last draft class, if you ask me. But, if you continue to not make these adjustments and, you're supposed to be this offensive line guy and our offensive line is absolutely atrocious, you should be on the hot seat at this point. Like it's the reality. But I really think that there's a possibility that Aaron Rodgers was like, hey, I'm coming back. I want Rob there. I want Joe D there. And let's run this back. And this is why there can and it very well may be Aaron Rodgers saying to Robert, like, yo, keep the kid in there. Like, just let him learn, let him do it. It's very possible. Like, nothing would surprise me with this situation that's going on with Aaron Rodgers. And because for whatever reason, Aaron Rodgers has a ton of belief in Zach Wilson. And like I genuine belief, like I truly believe that is like, you heard him on Pat. He's like, listen, it's early in the season. Things are going to change. Like, we're all right. Like, he was very calming listening to him talk. It was,
I agree.
It was like, okay, you're right. But at the same time, I'm watching the product on the field, and we're not even competitive. Like, we're not even close to competitive. So it's very frustrating. It'd be one thing if we were competitive a couple years ago, and this losing is fairly new. We haven't been competitive in almost a decade and a half. And I'm tired of it. Like, I'm a battered Jets fan. I'm an old battered wife. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's it. You just keep going back to him.
Yeah.
You keep going back to him. And, everyone feels the same way. Everybody feels the same way.
What do you think that the NFL could have made the call to Aaron Rodgers and say, like, yo, can you please show up to this game so we can get some ratings? Pretty please.
I think it's 3 possibilities. Either the NFL called him, Woody called him, or he actually is that invested in the team and he's like, shit,
Well, no, I'm not saying that it's not because he's not invested. Like, I think he is. I do. He talks to the guys, like, just hearing, like I said, hearing on Pat Mack, it was very calming. Like, there is a sense of confidence that he has in this team and the guys in that room. But at the same time, he's just had surgery. When you fly after surgery, blood clots form very easily, even if you didn't get the jab. It's a common occurrence when you have surgery, is blood clots form when you fly. So that's a big concern for me, him flying this soon after surgery. So I'd rather him worry about rehab. Like, where is he going to do rehab on the East Coast? What's the plan on the East Coast to attack this Achilles? So you are ready for next year. Like, I'm more worried at this point in the game that he's ready for next year. I know he'll be back during the season, but, like, let's make sure everything is okay. We don't have any setbacks because he just decided to travel just so he could travel across country and be there with the guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's stupid. Like, that's I would love for him to be there, and I'm sure he would love to be there, but just for the moral support, it's a poor decision. It's not a smart move.
I'm sure he did his research. I'm sure he's at, you know what I mean? That's, But that obviously you want to put him in bubble wrap, save him for next year.
But my concern is that maybe the NFL reached out and Woody as well to accelerate that. Like, hey, can you come back earlier? Because let's be real, the NFL is a business. The NFL 100%. Is entertainment, and the Jets, because Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, got slotted with a ton of primetime games. And let's be real, they're going to be removed once they're able to start bringing in flex games. Once that's allowed, Jets are going to be flexed out of every primetime slot that they have, which sucks because I was so excited for all these primetime games. But that's the reality. But right now they cannot flex teams out. It's not what they're able to do. So they're stuck with the Jets going in there, and no one wants to watch that game. Like, I'm a Jets fan. I'm like, man, I'm not excited. I'm more excited for fantasy and what's going on with my fantasy team than I am for the Jets game. Which sucks. It's just like the past 12 years, like, where I've been more focused on fantasy than I have the Jets, because the Jets just rip my heart out every week. And even though I know that they're going to lose, they still find ways to disappoint me.
I mean, it fucking blows. I mean, it blows, but, on a positive note to, wrap it up a little bit. We've been here. We know how to be here.
We know how to lose.
We know how to be here, man. It is what it is.
We know how to suck.
And also, I truly do think this is Zach's last game, like last chance. He's going to be on a short leash. He can get benched at halftime.
I hope.
And then we get to look forward to see whatever Simeon can bring and just play it out from there. I'm just hoping that the guys that we look at, the Breeses, the D-line, I want to start seeing some good performances. I want to see, like, cohesiveness throughout the game, complementary football. Mm-hmm. I don't expect wins at all. I just want to see progress. And unfortunately, that's what we've been doing, but we've been here.
By no means am I rooting for Zach Wilson to play poorly. I hope he goes out there and proves me wrong and makes me eat my words next on our following show. I really do. I hope that's the case, and he comes out there and throws for 320 yards and 3 touchdowns and balls out. Like, that would be the greatest thing ever. I have zero expectations that would happen, but I hope I am wrong. But the reality of the situation is if he goes out there and plays like he did these past 3 weeks, because even in the Bills game, he did not play well. 16 points is nothing to be excited about in today's NFL. If he continues to play like this and doesn't get benched and they continue to just keep him out there, I'm going to be really pissed. But if he does get benched, I'll tell you, after playing like this, I'm going to fucking stand up in my chair and cheer.
Standing O.
Yeah, because it's necessary. Like, this is the NFL. Yeah. It's not college. Like, I don't care about your feelings. You're getting paid millions and millions of dollars to be here. You're playing like shit. Be better. Get better, and that's it. Plain and simple. That's the way of the world. That's the way of the NFL. It's the way of the world. If I owned a business and you're performing poorly, and there's someone who's performing even the slightest bit better, I'm going to put him in. Because I own a business. I need my business to be successful. You're performing like shit consistently. I need something else. You're either fired or I'm just going to replace you and put you in a different position.
100%. And I think part of it, too, is just, I think his time is just kind of run out. Even if he can develop, it's just not going to be here, dude. I think that there's just such a dark cloud above him already. The fans were already like, the wind was taken out of our sails, losing someone so beloved like Rodgers, to be replaced by the guy that we purposely brought Rodgers in to replace. It's like we've seen it and everyone's tired of it. There's no energy in the stadium. There's nothing anymore. Eric, they need to change, even if it's a Simeon.
That hurts my heart, because I'll tell you right now, one of my favorite things about the Aaron Rodgers signing was the fact that he was going to be able to mentor Zach Wilson, that he was going to be able to show him the ropes, and that in 2-3 years we might see a completely different quarterback with Zach Wilson being the starting quarterback, like, because he spent all of that time learning. Like, Jordan Love doesn't look like a bad quarterback at all. He looks very good. He looks
he's not bad.
He looks very good. Like, he took his team to a 17-0 deficit in the fourth quarter and brought them back to win the football game. Yeah. The guy's got some moxie. He's moving the football. They're scoring touchdowns. And it's very, very possible that sitting underneath a guy like that for that long will greatly benefit a guy like Zach Wilson, who clearly needs that type of tutelage at this point in his career. And it couldn't be any more obvious. But because he's forced into this situation and our coaches refuse to protect the kid, like with the new NFL rule that we're allowed to carry 3 quarterbacks and not suit one up, we should have taken full advantage of that and been like, Zach, you're basically redshirted this year. Like you're not even suiting up. We're going to have another serviceable backup. They could have brought in. There's so many guys that they could have brought in the offseason to be a backup, because no one was going to be starting over Aaron Rodgers. It's obvious. Like, they could have brought in anybody, and he'd be playing right now, and Zach Wilson would be the, in fact, backup. Still learning, still sitting behind somebody who's capable, whether it is a Jacoby Brissett, whether it was a Jameis Winston, who was a free agent. Like, there's so many guys that we could have brought in that we decided not to. Because Zach's our guy. Zach's the dude. It was stupid. It makes no sense, and we deserve everything that we're eating right now because of our poor management. And it's the most Jets thing ever. It's the most Jets thing ever. But Sunday, hopefully we see improvement. Hopefully we see some points scored. Like, if we can score 20 points, I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy with 20. Like, if we lose and we score 20 points, I'll be much happier than I am today.
I mean, I'll take anything at this point, bro. I'll take anything at this point.
Hurting, man.
I'm so jaded. Any little glimmer of light, give me something.
I'm so jaded, dude.
It's,
Yeah, we're gonna try to. We're gonna try to be back on Sunday for a pregame show, give some pregame predictions, talk about the game and what to expect. If not, we'll be back on a regular time Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate everybody tuned in. Hit that thumbs up button as well. Until next time, guys. JETS, Jets.
In a city that never sleeps, where legends are born and dreams become reality, a new chapter is about to unfold. Last season, they fought valiantly, leaving their mark on the gridiron. But now, a new dawn emerges, a chance for redemption and supremacy. The Jets have honed their skills, forged their bodies, and sharpened their minds. The stage is set, and they're ready to unleash their might.
Hey, no friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. One by one, we're gonna lock it down. Keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. Yeah, I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. Yeah, I know yeah, no friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. A fact. Let us start if you don't wanna keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies.
We're gonna be great, man. I can't wait.